I'm so excited, man, on this episode of My Manhood Matters. I have my favorite brothers here at the round table. I have my friend here, Mr. Derick Young, who is a motivational speaker, a global leader. I have my little brother right here, Derick D. Richardson II, educator and a man after God's own heart. I got my boy Jamal Hutchinson here. He is a wealth management, all things mentorship. And then I got one of my best friends here, Errol Jeffries, team lead, great father. Fellas, welcome to in the round table. Welcome to the square table. Right?
Glad to
So
be here.
today, I just want to get perspective of different things about manhood. Who we are as a man, who we are as a husband, who we are as being single, and just talk about money, dating, how things are changing, our roles, our responsibilities. What are your insights? What do you see for the future from millennials up until, well, D, you be 60 this year. And so how things have shifted over the years. So D, I'm gonna start with you because you're the main man here. So D, when you think about manhood and you think about the way the world is going, do y'all open up with this? Do y'all see how the world, or should I say women, are, because the big topic now, D, is women demasculating men. So in your thoughts, do you see that?
Yeah, I think whenever you have a topic like this, you have to always think about how situational it can be.
Okay.
And, what I would say to men in general is, where do you establish your identity?
Okay.
For me, as a believer in Jesus Christ, I establish my identity that I'm a child of God, I'm a child of the King, and He loves me with all my warts and problems and fears and challenges. So for me, my foundation is I'm good, meaning my future is settled, meaning my value is already set. Mm-hmm. And what I see a lot of men being swayed by the opinions of other men, other women, about who they are, if they're significant or not.
That's a good point.
To some degree, because they just have never really set a foundation for who gets to determine your value. Right. So my thinking around that is, if the Lord is determining your value, if God is helping you understand who you can be, who you should be, then I think it's just going to be that much harder for anybody to redirect you, sway you, tear you down, if that resonates. That's sort of how it hits me.
Anybody else?
I would say for the millennials, the challenge is ignoring the noise. Mm-hmm. So it's almost, what is our standard now? Or what is your standard? Or what standard do I want to set for myself? Talked about in our session about pride and ego. Mm-hmm. So I'm a man. These are things I'm going to do. Mm-hmm. Here are my boundaries. And I don't kind of listen to the other noise. Mm-hmm. Like, you can't emasculate me if I know who I am. Here are my standards, here are my boundaries, and it's okay for me to express myself in a particular way, in all the different kind of facets, still being soft, still being or a manly man or whatever, but that's kind of how I see, like it's more so individualized, case to case on situations. Some situations, I may need to take a back seat and let you lead. Let's go. You got it.
It don't make you less of a man either.
It doesn't.
Right.
It doesn't. And that's the whole thing. Just because you can't do everything doesn't mean you're emasculated. No. If my wife has a stronger balance of this, or my significant other has another strength in this, then so be it. Rock out. We're supposed to come together like is you're half of my faith, I'm half of your faith. Okay. And we're supposed to lean on each other and grow together. And for somebody coming in new to a relationship, it's more so the same thing. Who am I? Who are you? And if I know who I am, then it's going to be hard for me to be who you are. I talk to my daughters about you can't have project boyfriends. What I mean is you can't build another man up. You need to almost, you are a queen, and the person you get in with should either be on your level or beyond. You can't
be settling.
Yeah, settling in peace? Nah, because then they're gonna feel emasculated.
Yep.
Because I got my stuff together and you don't, or whatever that looks like. So that's kind of how I think about it.
Every now and then, people might ask me my opinion as they're getting ready to marry or think about being married.
Right.
And sometimes what I say to people is, I want you to remember that there's going to be 3 people in your household. And yeah, of course, people go, what? 3 people? There's you, there's your spouse, and there's the person you become together.
That's good.
And all 3 of those people have to be fed. You've got friends that will never be her friends. She's got friends that will never be your friends. You all will have friends together. You have hobbies that she won't have. Y'all see how that goes.
Right.
And to the point Jamal made, it just strikes me that that's just a powerful concept that you got to really think, I am literally teaming up with this person.
Right.
And when people choose somebody that they think is beneath them, see, to me, you're already setting yourself up for trouble. So again, I just think it goes back to where's your identity? And then secondly, how do you really view the purpose of coming together with somebody?
That's good. Anybody else want to try in on that?
Yeah, I think, and a millennial myself too, I wonder, I think because there's so many, like you said, the outside noise and so many things and what happens is like this whole idea of being sure of who you are and like just knowing your identity, people don't know that. And so what they're doing is they're going to all these different voices and they're trying to figure it out through these other voices. But it's like you have to have a foundation to know where your identity comes from and be humble enough to recognize is that like, especially in a marriage, is like, sometimes people try to create they try to describe what a man is. A man makes all the decisions. A man puts his foot down. Or a man does this. That ain't what the Bible say, right? In the Bible, there's responsibilities that come with being a man. But whether I play sports or not doesn't determine if I'm a man. Whether I do certain activity doesn't necessarily determine whether I'm a man. It's a level of responsibility that's given to me as the head of the household. Now, the head of the household means I determine every decision. In my household, if you know my wife, that girl's brilliant. She's wise. The Bible says, a lot of times you talk about wisdom is always like a female characteristic, right? And so one of the things I'm learning still, is like, I don't have to know it all. In fact, it takes a level of wisdom to understand that like, hey, I don't know it all, but I want to lean on the folks that do know those things. And so like me and we're a partnership. And my responsibilities doesn't mean I have to, make every decision, but it comes from and me being comfortable with being who I am as a man. People always say, oh, he act blacker than him, or this person. I'm black. I can't be nothing else. I'm just black. You know what I'm saying? Like, I can't be blacker than this person. I don't like, that always bothers me because like, I'm a man. that's what I am, right?
Right.
But if you don't know where your identity comes from, right? If you don't know the responsibility that's given to you, right? You can go and mess it up and feel like, be swayed by all these other opinions. When it's like, no, just be settled in who you are. And then when you're settled with who you are, it takes a level of humility. And it's like, oh, what do you think we should do right now? That's what we're going to do. I'm backing you up. You can take the lead here right now. But that's what it takes to be like a leader. It's not always doing what you think is best. It's doing what is best for the situation. So, for the team, right? And so, that identity piece is what's your foundation. Don't let things sway you and pull you this and that way, because people always have ulterior motives, especially looking in the world and all these situations. But yeah, I know I know what I'm good at. I know what I'm not good at. I'm gonna lean on those folks that are good at those things.
That's
so
good.
yeah,
That's good. Yeah. That's good. Let me ask you this: what about those times when? Well, what do you say to men that? Because now we're talking. Do you think we're talking enough?
I'll say yes and no. I think I'll say, because I'm 45, I didn't start doing therapy until I was like, individual therapy until I was like 44. We did couples therapy a few times in the beginning of our marriage. I even told her then, so I ain't doing this crap again, because I used to leave mad. Like, why am I still mad at the end of the session?
I'm done with it.
Separate cars.
And it's hard for Jamal to get mad. That's the thing that's making me really.
But then we came back to do it a few more times, a little bit better. So I think it's yes and no. I think I've always had a circle of people I could talk to, but now I think it's more so, okay, cool, I got you, but I also got this going on too. And it's okay to have that going on. So, I think we're encouraging that talk a little bit more now of getting in outside of the church.
Right.
It's now becoming a little bit more acceptable to have more conversations, outside.
What age should we start talking? 15? As men, young men.
I mean, it's desired at 15. Please, yeah, start talking at 15. But it's so hard, especially during that age frame that I'm trying to come into my own and I don't want any help and I want to learn how to be my own man, and that's what you think you're supposed to do. So you don't communicate when you're having issues. You don't communicate when you like that girl who you think likes you, but you don't know if she likes you back. So you play it one way, and then your friends tell you something while you were at school one day. You try that, and she's like, "Who are you?" So those things you on one aspect you learn camaraderie from it, but you don't get the foundation, which is usually built up in asking somebody who's been there.
Gotcha.
And that was why I thought, going back to the first question, we all said you have to be comfortable within yourself to be a married man. And becoming more comfortable in yourself, you need to find that person that you can go to and go, okay, this is what's going on, and I don't know if I should do this. Like my marriage to my wife is my second marriage. And when I said, okay, I'm gonna marry this woman, I'm gonna do this, I knew who I was going to go to first. I knew I was gonna go and say, okay, so I think I'm gonna marry Celia. And I knew they were gonna give me one, why I should, because the good things about it. Two, are you sure? Because you remember how your first marriage ended, you remember how you felt, so if you know that this is not gonna happen again, go ahead and do this. And three, what to expect once you get in this marriage. Because there's a 12-year age difference between us. So me, 2 kids, established, 40 years old, her, 28, just starting her career, she's gonna want different things than I am. And one of those people happens to be a woman, my sister, my middle sister. First thing she said, you gonna marry her? She's gonna want a baby. Now, I got 2 that were driving me crazy at that point in time. And I was like, man, come on. Are you sure she's gonna really want a baby? Yes, Errol, she's going to want to have a child. And guess what? If you want to marry her, you're going to have to be the person to give it to her. And I prayed on that for like 2 weeks because I was like, God, if this is the woman for me, okay. I mean, I do want a boy. I've had these 2 girls. I would love to have a boy. And I had a girl, but that's okay. That's okay.
That's okay.
It's okay. But yeah, you'd have to, when the Bible says lean not to your own understanding, that doesn't necessarily mean just lean to God. God puts people in your life to advise you, to counsel you.
There's safety in that.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, this young was one of the people that when I was 15, 16 years old, had nothing to do with school, had nothing to do with academics, which is what I was in a program that was sponsoring me academically. But I would go in there and be like, man, I think I want to start a high school fraternity. Like, that was a conversation piece for us. Mm-hmm. And it was, it's just having that person that you can be your unadulterated self with and who can give you unadulterated answers and knows you well enough to give you the unadulterated answer to let you work into it. I think that is a very big piece to developing a good marriage. And knowing who those people are for you and for them. Because I will tell my wife in a second, you need to go call Vanessa and ask her what she thinks about this. I don't have an issue with that because I know Vanessa. Vanessa's a good person, also an assistant principal, but good person, just really strong Christian values, and tells it like it is. And she's going, Celia, come on. Now really, that's your decision? And I get the bag, that's a diggly. But then on the same token, Vanessa's corrected me.
Yeah.
If I trust her enough to correct the person who I'm one with, I also have to accept correction from her. And when I get in my moods and I'm like, I'm not bending, I'm not changing my way and my thought process, this doesn't make any sense. Daycare was one of them. I work from home, why do I have to pay for daycare? Because you cannot work and raise a child at the same time for 8 hours a day. You really physically can't. And I knew this and I saw this. I experienced it daily, but it took Vanessa getting in my ear going, hey, no, for real, you're gonna have to do daycare. Like, it's just gonna happen. And then, of course, she then puts the bug in Celia's ear. Celia goes out and finds the daycare. So I don't have to do anything except for just pay for it. Yeah, that part. But outside of that, yeah, I mean, you have to find that circle, and it has to be tight and small. It can't be like a group of friends. It has to be just that 2 or 3 core people that you really talk to about everything.
When you think about go ahead, Derick.
I just want to go back to, I was thinking about part of Errol's answer with your question. So we met in a program called Inroads that would help high school kids go from high school to college to the corporate world. And over a 6-year period where I was full-time with them, and then I worked pretty heavily as a volunteer, had about 700 students. And these are 98% African-American, maybe 1% Hispanic, and
you focus on engineering math, right?
Engineering, math, and business.
Okay.
And out of those roughly 700 students, I can name only one student who is not doing well right now. And the reason is that person we didn't say mental health issues back in the early 90s. No. We didn't use that terminology, okay? But that's what he was up against. And I really believe, he said it, the real key to the program was we did monthly counseling, coaching sessions with every student. And it was confidential unless they said something, where they were going to harm themselves, which we never got anything like that. But being able as a 16-year-old, 17-year-old, 18-year-old, so from high school through college, they had that person that they could trust, they could be transparent with, who was maybe 10 years older, so
Right.
It wasn't like your mama or
Right.
your daddy. And I really believe that was the key ingredient to our success. So when they got on campus, wherever they went, if they went to Morehouse or Tennessee State or FAMU, wherever they went, all right, show me your study schedule. Talk to me about your social life. And those students they already had the familiarity with us. They already knew we were not going to judge them. We were not going to berate them. We were going to help them work it through. So that's a long way to say, I think the earlier you can get anybody, all right, but we're talking about men. Right. The earlier you can get a guy to not isolate himself, because that is what guys do, because we don't want to be embarrassed. Above all, we want respect.
Right. And nobody know our business.
We man, if this going to damage my respect, I'd rather be off in the jungle. We were talking earlier, I'd rather be in Gatlinburg with the bears than exposed. So if you can get somebody as a teenager to say there are safe people, there are mentors you can have, I just think it sets you up for that, what he described later in life, where you're open to it.
And not being ashamed.
Yeah.
Right. So I'm dealing with different generations here, but starting with you, D, working around the table, where are you now mentally, physically, spiritually? Because I know over the years you've seen yourself grow. So at this point in time in life as a man, where are you now?
So it's funny. There's like this saying. I don't know how exactly it goes, but your 30s are probably some of the best years of your life. It's like the 20s, you young and you kind of figuring it out. You're right, and then you get your 30s and you kind of got it. You're established. You got some money now, and I got some wisdom. You know what I mean? And so I think at this point in my life, I remember I think about myself when I was 21, and I wanted to be married. But I look back now, it's I was not ready. You know what I mean? I know. And at the time, I didn't know. I just wanted it. Yeah. And I look back now, I'm oh man, that would have been, that might have been a disaster. That would have been rough. But I think about, right now in the season of my life, I feel, because of my, I always start my foundation, my walk with Christ as a believer, God has really allowed me to grow and become more mature and wise. And even in my marriage, we've been married for 7 years now. I feel like each year I just continue to grow. But I realize more and more too, I always give credit to God because he's the one that open my eyes and see things. But it also took me being saying, yes, Lord, you know what I mean? And I think that because of all the yes, Lords and obedience, I think the quicker I can obey whatever he's leading me to, the better off I am. And then I get it on the other side. And I think that one of the life lessons I've learned Sometimes you can avoid, conflict or things that are challenging, but those are the things that really shape you and like you grow. If you can navigate those situations and those tough moments, it's like God uses them to develop you, to make you become resilient, to make you, learn the lesson. If you don't, everything's always cookie cutter and great. And I think we sometimes struggle with that as men. It's like, we want to have it be smooth, but like if you don't go through the tribulation and the difficult times, you really can't grow the way that, really God, I believe, wants you to grow. And so, I feel like right now, definitely feel healthy. I love being able to still got a little bit of youth left, and I can get out there and play basketball with my students, you know what I mean? And show them a little something, still I got a little jumper, you know what I mean? And, also have the maturity and I've been through, some things and I've grown. So, I feel I'm blessed to be where I am. I think, I will continue to grow in my health. And like I said, I talk to people. I have people I go to. My next step is I do want to get an official counselor that's not, I don't know or grew up with, to have a regular, because I think it's healthy. I think it's a benefit. And also my cousins, I talk to my cousins, but they my cousins, you know what I mean? So to be able to have someone else I know it's a license to be able to talk to. And not because I feel like I'm struggling with anything per se particular, but I think it's just another a helpful resource to go to and talk. And I've learned from old people that I've been known and talked to that it's that whole weirdness or strange thing about it. It's not that, you know what I mean? It's definitely beneficial. So,
what about school system?
Man, we are fighting some big challenges in the school system now, and big challenges. And because these are all these different influences and things and desires kids have. I don't know about y'all, but if I would have had social media when I was in high school, I don't know what I'd be doing right now.
Is there a program set to mentor young men?
Is there a program that's set to mentor young men? There are quite a few. I know.
In your school?
In my school, I'm new to it, so I'm in a new school now. But the one I was currently serving, we had one. We brought in some folks that would come in and they would take the kids that were high behavioral, not risk, but kids that had a lot of behavior, a lot of referrals, a lot of the challenges. They would meet with those kids that needed a little bit more support. And one of the things we've noticed is that when kids have someone to talk to or to lean on, it changes the trajectory. Because a lot of times, we can't. Is it easier to help the kids grow in school and learn, or go back and fix their family situations? This is a lot more difficult to try to fix their home situations. But what I can do at school, I can help them with learning. I can support them and do the things I can, and set them up for success after high school, or middle school, whatever. And I think that kids that are the most successful in school, there's a trait, not a trait, there is a common thing that is always in line. They always have support at home. The kids that are most successful, getting A's, B's, getting good grades, don't get in trouble a lot, are able to listen to reason and things like that, is the kids that when we have parent-teacher conferences, their parents are always there, or they have an uncle that's always there, or they have somebody that's always influencing them. So for me, what I've learned from that is being patient with those kids that don't have those things, and figuring out ways to support them and connect them with folks that will be able to mentor them and pour into them.
Do you feel like we need more black men in education?
I think we need more people that are about that life. You know what I mean? I feel like called to it. We were just talking earlier about, yes, it's good to have representation of folks, but it's more so about who's committed to do the work to really support those kids that are not going to let their implicit biases get in the way, or at least be honest about things where they grew up. And yes, seeing people that look like them is always a benefit, but we just need people that are going to put themselves aside and do those things that are necessary to really invest in those kids the way that they need to be invested into. With people that you can trust their hands touching those kids. Sometimes you get folks that, are angry or mad or just doing it for the money or whatever, which was crazy because you don't make that much money. You know what I mean? I don't know what it is. Yeah. But it's like a lifestyle comfort. You know what I mean? I can be here and chill. But we need people that are going to do the hard work to really support kids and love on them and know that love is not giving them everything they want. Love is disciplining them when they do something they shouldn't do, or letting them know, hey, this is not okay. You got to change this behavior because this is going to lead to this and that. So we just need people that are in there that are really committed to that service, that life. It ain't no glory in it. You don't get people patting you. You ain't going to meet the president because you're doing, every once in a while maybe for rare, but your reward is going to be with God's going to reward you in the work and service you pour into kids. Yeah. So, and you're going to impact kids' life. So many times I meet kids that I work with or poured into, and then the reputation that I still carry about I remember Mr. Richardson, he was cool, man, or he was a cool guy. And that's the stuff that fills your heart and know you're doing something that's bigger than you, that bigger than you work is super important.
Is that what you felt about inroads, Derick?
Pretty much. I mean, everybody's different, but I just don't know there's anything that can match me being able to sit across the table from Errol, remembering him coming to my office, 16 years old, trying to decide, should I go to college here or there, and just seeing the great human being he's become. There's just nothing. There's nothing that even comes close to that. And, in terms of where I am in life, I made a decision last year that my 20s, I used to work out all the time, and the 30s and 40s and 50s, having kids, getting busy. And so I said, I want my next decade, this 60 to 70 decade, to be my healthiest, most fit decade. Okay. And the other thing is, now that my family, I have 4 adult children, I have 1 with special needs, so she's gonna probably always live with us until we can't take care of her. I'm at a point now where I can really travel and really scale my business. So I've had to kind of not grow as much as I could potentially grow because, I have 4 kids and practice and, Jack and Jill and meetings. And, 1 year, my wife's name is Allison, but we had a concept that each kid is different, so we're going to send them to the school that works for them.
That's good.
Now, that's good, but man, oh man. That one, what you said, brother. 1 year where we had them in school, we put 72,000 miles on our cars, about 50 on mine and about 22 on hers, just getting them everywhere. And that's a commitment we made. So now, obviously, I don't have that same commitment. So I'm really looking this next decade to really scale the business the way it can really scale, since I'm going to have more freedom to get out and do. And for me, it's just a continuation of just one of the things I say to people, my wife in particular, is my opinion is you got to be very, and what I'm going to say might sound weird, but you got to be very careful that you compartmentalize your marriage, your parenting, your work, your community stuff, or if you're a church or religious person. My opinion is my kids' behavior is not my marriage. Good. But you can fall into the place that you let trouble or problems or negative experiences your kids are having impact your marriage. What's going on at work is not my marriage. It impacts how we come to the marriage. It impacts how we feel. It impacts, how we operate. But that's not my marriage. And that thinking, that compartmentalization has been very powerful for us over the years. So I just want to keep that up, right, for this next decade as we get older and, our bodies change and, things like you were talking about. Like I can still, in my mind, I can still cross you, but my knee would be like, no. We're not crossing nobody because you'll be over there with another ripped patella tendon. But the other thing I would just say in terms of where I am is I've always been this way, but I guess I'm just doubling down on just gratitude. Just be in gratitude mode. Be in gratitude mode. And my philosophy is, people say, I believe you reap what you sow. I know you reap what you sow. I'm old enough. I've read about it enough. I know enough people. So my goal is just every person I come in contact with, how can I make that interaction a great, meaningful, lasting interaction? So that's kind of where I am, as we move ahead.
Move ahead.
Yes, sir.
Jay, Jamal?
All right. So, where am I right now?
Forgiveness is one.
Yeah, I am in an interesting transition. So, I am grieving my former self, trying to figure out I'm 45, who is this next Jamal, because I can't be who I was, because ultimately that turned into burnout, exhaustion, a little bit of depression, et cetera, et cetera. So that's kind of where I am right now. So it's figuring out what does this next phase of life look like, what is my pivot, where am I going, how does all this stuff come together? Because, just into a new plan. So
How you balance that without being overwhelming?
what is that? It's
You can get sucked into that.
It's day to day. It's been a roller coaster, but it's day to day. I don't like journaling, but what I'll say is this: I know I'm trying to piece together. My new thing now in my head is what is sustainable. Because I'm either extreme or I'm not. But what is sustainable for a long period of time that can, engineering mind is what can produce a consistent result. If I do X, Y, and Z, I'm looking for this to sustain me for a certain period of time. So what is that minimum standard? What is that minimum thing that it won't burn me out? And that I don't get upset when I didn't reap what I thought I should sow, expectation-wise. So what's going to be my new minimum? My new minimum has to sustain me that when something else happens, I have to create another new minimum. You get what I'm saying? Like, so right now, I'm not. Definition of minimum? A minimum? Financially, what can I make that can not, my doctor corrected me about this, I'm not stressed out about bills. Okay. What's my minimum in terms of my prayer life, my spiritual life? Gotcha. Health-wise, what am I doing that I can do every day? So I run a mile every day. Mm-hmm. I can do that. So anything over a mile is cherry on top. But if I want to get the belly down, I have to do more than that minimum. Right. Okay. But so what's the minimum I can do in each part of my facet of my life, the compartmentalizing different facets of my life. So what does my minimum look like? But I know what I was doing before. I can't do that anymore. Okay. So letting go of that, and even dealing with people expectations of me because they saw that. Okay. Like I'm not running through walls anymore for you, no. Yeah. Like I need some help. So boom, here's this help I need. You're gonna show up? Okay, cool, no problem. I ain't doing it. So that's I'm in an interesting phase of my life right now.
Okay. I think one of the things I'm hearing too is one of the things I'm hearing is you're about to stop making unnecessary sacrifices.
It's definitely putting myself first. I still think it's a time period of resting and sacrifice.
That unnecessary for you.
For me.
Yes, it.
For me, right. Because if I can't show it for me, I can't show it for anybody else. Mm. And, like I told you before, I'm watching the words I say. Even though I want to cut the learning curve, some of these learning curve tests, I would like them to be a little bit different. Okay. So I'm still kind of reframing how I say things. So, yeah, I want to be a testimony for people. But this testimony, right now, I need a shorter testimony.
Right. For me, I've learned, I think I'm 53, but I think what I've really embraced here recently, say maybe a year, two, is God has created people in my life that I don't have to walk it out by myself. I'm comfortable in that. I don't have to walk this thing called life alone. I got my brothers, I got my beautiful wife, I got family, I got my church family, I got all these, and the Lord has shown me, I built all these things around you to push you where I need you to be. And then let go of that wall to let grace and mercy be applied. It's like I don't have to do it by myself no more. It's like the weight and because he's the ultimate God that carries me through it, but he put components in place so you get to the ultimate will. We can't afford, he's coming soon. So at my point where I am now is I don't have time to waste. Not waste being anxious of what's next. Not walking in fear. Not walking in. I'm at a good place. I'm at peace with things now. I'm just really at a good place. My marriage is good. It's not perfect, but nobody's calling the police. I ain't laying on the couch. If I sleep on the couch because I want to. Being very intentional, spending more time with my wife, spending more time with my family, spending more time with stuff like this. But yeah, man, I'm really excited about where I am now. I'm embracing the process. I'm not fighting against the process, and I think it's what helped me through my journey. Counseling, being aware of what's around me, self-awareness, always growing. But yeah, I didn't mean to say all that. But go ahead, E.
Wow. Okay.
No, Jay, were you done?
Yeah, I'm done.
Okay, his book's coming out next fall. Get ready for it. Go ahead,
I
Errol.
had to go after four of you all. Okay. So what's going on with Errol? Spiritually, me and God are going at it. I'm not gonna lie. Several things. Finances, relationships as far as those around me, lifestyle. Just, it's not necessarily we're going at it. I don't say it like that. Like, I'm the one like, God, I ain't gonna listen to you. That's not true. I'm gonna listen, but I'm like, I have questions. Like, are you really sure that this is what I'm supposed to do? Because if I do it this way, that I can achieve this. Can we like merge these two things into one thing? And it's like, I don't have the time. I don't really feel like I'm at a moment where I don't feel there's enough time in the day to do everything I need to do. So what I find myself doing is going, God, can I please consolidate these things? And God's like, no. No, your work time is your work time. No, your time with you write is your time to write. No, compartmentalizing.
Thank you. What are you talking about?
Yeah, so it's there. You have to do it, but I'm like, no, for real. Like, I don't see it. I know you see it, but I don't see it. Like, my wife is just recovering from an injury, and she's just at the point where she can walk normally, but she's still in a lot of pain. So I'm not trying to put a lot on her. Mariah's getting bigger. She's learning more words. She's
4 or 3.
She'll actually be 3 in November. Okay. So getting her what she needs as far as an education. I've got 2 that are in middle school. Making sure that they're okay and somehow not feeling like I'm falling behind because they're 40 miles away from where I live. On top of that, I got a promotion in work last year, and in that position, my responsibilities tripled. And then handling bills when we just had a really big financial issue going into spring. And it's like, you're sitting there looking at all this like, no, for real, God, can I really put these to the no? So when I told you I'm about to start writing again, I put it on my back burner because I was doing more work. Right. So when I was supposed to be writing in the afternoon, I'm doing reports.
Gotcha.
Or I'm going to pick up Mariah from the daycare, or I'm helping Celia at school set up because she can't walk all day. And I'm hearing everybody tell me, yo, no, really take care of yourself. You got to take care of yourself. And I'm like, I got that, but then, you know how people use the word to tell you what you need to do, and then you'll go, yeah, but, it says that the man in the house is supposed to be like the body of Christ, willing to sacrifice himself to die daily for your family. That's what I'm doing. I'm dying daily for my family. And I'm like, this can't be right. So I've always been hard-headed. Let's just be honest. If you bring my pops in here, yeah, my dad will be the best person to explain how hard-headed I am. But I am hard-headed. So it's like, but no, for real, like, can I combine these things? Like, I want to write a book, but can the book be my writing? No, you write poetry. No, you write blogs. No, you write. There's 24 hours in a day.
Right.
And then it's like, there's work. Well, you got to pick up extra work because you want to make sure these bills are taken care of and catch up on bills. And you're like, but that means it's asleep. If it's asleep and you're tired, you go into work tired. And I work from home. How are you tired at your job from home? But that's another story within itself. So it's like trying to regain balance. And it's funny because at 40, when I turned 40, I finally figured out the balance. And it took maybe 3 things out the blue at 50 for me to be like, no, for real, I need to find this balance again, God, where is it? And he's telling you take it one thing at a time. And everybody says take it one thing at a time, and I'm like, but no, there's not time to take it one thing at a time.
So let me ask you this. So Jamal and D, y'all got the family. So how can he balance that? How can he?
There is no balance. I teach yoga, there is no balance. It's called your sweet spot. So when we do poses, my pose one day is gonna look different than my pose the next day. But where's my core? Where's my sweet spot?
Nice.
So your sweet spot is gonna smooth. You got a sweet spot. And you just gotta find that sweet spot again. But it's always gonna be stuff. Like I'm dealing with right now. Like it's a lot of stuff, a lot of transition. But where's my sweet spot? How do I get back to that sweet spot? And I know what it feels like, I know what it sounds like, I know what it smells like, I know what it tastes like, I know how it feels. I know what that is. It's there, but now I just have to figure out, I'm gonna have to lean this way today, lean this way tomorrow.
You take it as it comes. Is that the answer?
I'm going to echo what he said. In America, we use this term work-life balance, right? Balance is a pipe dream. So what happens is we have this expectation we're trying to get to that we will never get to. Because next year is going to be, you got a new direct report. You got to spend another 20 hours every 2 months with. Right. Next year it's going to be your daughter's in cheerleading. Ha ha, you think you're busy now? Wait till, yeah, right? To me, it's what can I do to make sure I am connecting with the Lord? Because that's my power. Right. That's, in essence, I realize I can't do all this. Little Derick Young, Blue Mile Project, St. Louis, Missouri. I can't do all this stuff. Lord, help your boy. Friends, holler, I need to blow some steam. Hey, man, can we go get a bite to eat? So it's how do you make sure your key relationships are good? That's my thought. Because I'm never going to have balance. I'm never going to have it. Never. It's not going to happen. It's impossible. But how do I make sure right now, like Jamal said, my sweet spot is my wife needs my help more than normal. That's what I got to do. Okay. My buddies I hoop with, hey man, I might be able to hoop with you one night this week instead of our normal 3 nights. Still, that's an important relationship, but on the scale, if you're going to use balance, if it's your term, that's to me. So it's what do I have to do today, right now, in this space to make sure. We were speaking at an event one time, my wife and I, and this woman stood up and she said, we're recently married. And she said, I'm supporting him through medical school while I work. What advice do you have for us trying to get it all done? And I said, if you can get it all done, you ain't got enough to do. Right. Get it all done? Are you kidding me? Who is that person? Right. Maybe you know him. I don't know him. Right. But it's getting the most important things done that day, that week. And especially the things that are going to maintain my relationship. And I just think that's why it's also important not to isolate. So been there, done that. I know what that's like. We had that same experience 2 years ago. I remember my wife, there's just something about knowing I'm not the only one. Am I the only one who just feels like I'm working from the crib and I'm more tired working from the crib than I was? Just that feeling you're the only one, you know what that does? It just heaps pressure. It just heaps stress. So that's my thinking.
Do you want to chime in?
Yeah, no, I'll say one thing. I think that whole idea, because we were just talking about the balance not even being a possible thing. And I think about my first year of being an AP, assistant principal, it took so much time. And I remember I was so used to I want to wake up in the morning this time, spend this much time with the Lord, and do this. And one of the things that God has been showing me is so when you pray in the morning, that's the only time you talk to me. I'm like, oh no, that should be a all the time thing. He's like, yes. He said, pray continually, always, right? Always in prayer. And so what I'm learning is that this whole idea of balance is it would be nice to sit down and just have but it's like God says, what can you offer? And know that I'm always there. And so one of the things he showed me, I would feel bad. I would feel the pressure. I'm like, oh, I got to feel the pressure. I'm supposed to be this guy. You know what I mean? And I had to learn is that man, every time I'm anywhere, and I'm always praying. I'm always taking. If we're in a meeting, somebody say something crazy, we had a good, thank you, Jesus, right? That's praying. That's a prayer, right? And so I'll just say that I have not figured it out. Y'all know more than I do. I'm just, I'm still learning to want to get. But I'm thinking, is it like, guys, so don't put me in a box. I'm too big for this box, right? And so it's like, allow me to speak, allow me to show you what it looks like and don't feel like that's how my dad do it or this is how this person do it. No, like, don't put me in a box. Let me do the flowing and trust that when I give you something, you can, test it out and see that it's, if it's him or not. And so, I'm just learning to keep learning and know that, like I said, my first year was rough. After that, it's changed a lot. Like I've gotten, better at it. And then now my time looks a little bit different. Now I can do a little bit more. But it was not bad that I was spending so much time trying to become good because that's where God had me.
Because I know, Errol, I think one thing that has helped a lot of people I get to work with is how do you define the word plan? And the way I define the word plan is something I will probably have to change to get what I need. But if you have plan as, nope, I'm going to do this on Tuesdays, I'm going to do this on Wednesdays, I'm going to do this on Thursdays. And then somebody calls, can you take Kashika to the basketball game? That wasn't in my plan. No, the plan has changed. And what I have found as a person who used to be super planful, if it didn't fit, he knows how it was. Man, you show up at a certain, you do it this way, Man, I am so chill now. As long as is it getting done?
Yeah, I can tell.
Is it getting done?
Yeah, he's real chill now.
Hey, it's all good.
Okay.
Did it get good? We got it done for sure. Right on, baby.
This will be the last and final question. We're going to call it a quits. What do you say to the young man or man, period, to feel like they don't have a voice anymore? Feel like I just don't have a voice. Whether it's in my relationships, whether it's on my job, I don't have a voice within a voice.
I'll start that one. It's a lie. And that's the harshest truth of it. If you keep saying it, just like you're saying, I have no voice, you have to also say, but it's a lie. Because if you say a thing long enough, it's just like a habit. You keep saying it, you're going to believe it. Right. You keep working, you keep saying it, and you start believing it, you start living in it, and then you start patterning yourself, and then you go, see, look, people ain't listening to me. And it's you have to say, but it's a lie. If you don't say, but it's a lie, you're failing yourself in the beginning. And you don't have to say it to anybody, you have to say it out loud. I don't feel heard, but it's a lie. And I went through that in my job for 4 years. When I met you, I was going through it. Especially in 2019, they were basically loading all this work on QA, and I wasn't even in the league yet, but I felt like I was running the team and wasn't getting the money for it. And my boss she had brain surgery, and she was out for 7 months. So during those 7 months, they didn't really watch the team. They just kind of let us do what we were doing. They didn't staff us up for the busiest time of the year. We were basically just running, and nobody was pulling it together, and I was pulling it together and holding it together. But when it came time to address issues, well, why didn't y'all do this? And I would speak, well, you're not the manager. And after a while, I kept hearing that I may not be the manager, but let me tell you this. If you want to get it done the way you need it to be done, I'm the person you need to talk to. And when I finally said that, because first, you don't want to be the angry black dude. You don't want to be the combative black dude. You don't want to be aggressive in meetings. So when people who aren't us raise their voices or they talk with authority in your way, you kind of cower down. And you don't want to cower down, but you always hear that if you don't, you're the one that winds up in HR. You're the one that winds up with the talking to. You're the one that winds up on paperwork. So I was doing that for a while, and then one day I said, no, that's a lie. Let me tell you, I'm trying to tell you, if you do not do this way and you do not give us this instruction, everything you're looking for won't happen. I don't know what you want to do with that, but that's the truth. So when we have this meeting at the end of the week, and you ask why this didn't happen, it's because you didn't give us what I told you we needed. Are there any other questions? If not, great. Let's have a good rest of the day. Because I'm busy, because we're short-staffed, and I don't have a boss right now. And after the second or third time of me doing that, they started kind of giving us what we needed. They kind of started giving us the resources we needed in order to make sure we were taking care of the needs they needed on the project. But that's why I say it's a lie, because even when you say, I don't feel heard, it is a lie. They hear you, they're just choosing not to respond to it the way they should. Every time you speak, somebody hears you. Even if it's just God alone, every time you speak, somebody hears you. But we've been hearing that, oh, we won't, God's not answering my prayers, so God obviously isn't hearing me. I'm asking for more sex, and she's too busy, so she's not listening to me. I'm telling my toddler, hey, come here, and she's not listening, so she doesn't hear me. And if those happen in succession, your mind is like, well, I guess nobody hears me. It's a lie. Your daughter hears you, she's a toddler, she's not going to listen to you. You have to know that in your mind. When you say, when the first time you tell your 2-year-old, Mariah, come here, and Mariah's going to go, oh, I need to run now. And that's what she does. My wife I told y'all, she's been hurt. Her leg has been killing her lately, especially with school starts next week, right? Her starting school next week, she's been setting up her classroom, she's been running around, she's been on her feet all day. So she gets home, she's nursing her legs, she's tired, she lays down. There's days when she comes home, she goes strictly to sleep. No, I don't have it in me to give you what you're asking for. Get over it. God is God. He knows better than me. I can't tell you to give me what I want right now. You can't. How can I tell you? I'm yours. You made me. What am I doing? So, but realizing the truth in the situation lets you know it's a lie. So it's a lie, and find the truth. That's what I'll say to people who feel like they don't have a voice right now.
Especially brothers. that's what I'm hearing too here when I talk to different men.
Like I said, we've had many discussions about that at the old gig. So
Yeah. One thing I think about in the voice is there's also like a thing that we can get caught in, is that like you can look at other people's voice and think, oh, my voice is not like their voice, or my impact's not like their impact. And then you can get caught into a trap of trying to be like this person or have this person's influence, when it's like, no, who you are and your giftings and your anointing is enough, because that's who God made you to be and that's what he set you up for. But you fall into traps when you see someone on Instagram who has 100,000 followers and you trying to imitate and be like them. God says be like me, all right? And he said to, every gift he's given to you is enough. And so if we tap in more to like, okay, what is my platform? Who do I impact? Who listens or who's around me, right? I think that's important, especially with younger generations, right? I'm millennial, I don't know what the one up under me is, but you see it more and more in schools. It's like everybody's starting a YouTube page and they want to do that. It's like, well, God, did God call you to do that? Is that where your really gifting is? I think about a lady at our church. Well, I can say her name, Miss Claudette. Yeah. Her gift is hospitality. Good. Everybody, if you work with her, you know. And the reason I love Miss Claudette, because she don't try to do, that's what she knows, the lane, and she walks in it. And because she does it, she's such an powerful, impactful person. Right. But I think that's what we got to remember too. It's like, I don't need to influence people like Mr. Derick influence. He touches thousands of people, whatever. But what's my influence? It's at the school building. It's the kids that are coming to my school building. That's who I can impact. And I think too, is like one thing that I always ask my teachers is like, what does it take for you to feel like you're listened to? Because sometimes we assume that to be heard is for someone to do what I said. And that's not always being heard, right? And oftentimes you got to be really careful with that, because that's so like you got to recognize it in me. It's like, what do I feel like to be heard, or what does it feel like to be listened to? And really reflect and think about what that is, because sometimes people will get into the trap. It's like they didn't listen to me because they didn't do what I asked them to do. Like, no, that's not, what it's all about is more to it than that. And so you got to be really careful and be reflective about what it takes for me to feel these ways, or like, why do I feel like I'm not listened to, or why do I feel like I don't have a voice, and reflect and think, okay, am I stepping outside of what God's called me to do? Am I trying to be something that I'm not? Like, where is the lane that God wants me to walk in, and be okay with that, and like know that it's good, and you're not having to kick against, like when Paul, his eyes opened up and he take the scales off, He's like, Jesus was like, stop kicking against the bricks. You're trying to do something that I'm not destined for you to do. I need you to come over here with me, right? And when he did that, everybody knows his name, right? He's impacted the world because he stepped and did the thing that God's asked him to do, you know? So a couple of thoughts come to mind with that.
Especially corporate America.
So I would say, if you feel like you're not being heard, what is the root cause of that? Are you depressed? Are you stressed? Are you not fulfilling yourself? What are your coping mechanisms? Like, just go back to that kind of stuff. Like, so in this period of me like refueling myself, what are those things that fill me up? 5 senses: touch, taste, all of that. So just do all of it. Like, so today I'm feeling down. Okay, let me go put my feet in the grass, go play in the garden. Today I'm feeling up. Cool, let me maintain that. Let me go to an art gallery and see that. Today I didn't feel heard. Let me write it out and say, hey, this is what I was trying to say today. So this is, if you're in that space, it's going back and trying to figure out, why am I there? What is going on internally? So the thing I always go back to is, be mindful of your thoughts, because your thoughts become your words. Be mindful of your words, because your words become your thoughts, words. Be mindful of your words, because your words become your. No, be mindful of your thoughts, because your thoughts become your words. Be mindful of your words, because your words become your feelings. Be mindful of your feelings, because your feelings become your actions and habits, and so on and so on.
Right.
So just going back and checking in, like you said, is like doing that internal stop.
What I would add to what they said, just another thing you could say to somebody is, tell me what it is you want to offer with your voice. And sometimes we don't have a voice because of the way we're voicing it. And not all the time, but sometimes. And if you voice what you want to voice based only on who you are, you might be missing some opportunities, or you might not be reaching people the way you could. So that's the only other thing I would add, is that sometimes if you don't feel like you have a voice, it might be another level of self-evaluation you need to do around how you even come up. I remember a situation, it's a group of men that met together on a regular basis at church, and this gentleman said, you know, I bring all these ideas to the pastor, but the pastor just, I don't know, it just seems like he just don't care nothing about my ideas. And then another brother in the group, in a very, very diplomatic way, said, maybe it's how you're presenting it. And then somebody else, in a very non-diplomatic way, said, you too abrasive, man. That's why can't nobody hear what you say. And then the next person said, well, Brother Derick has a good relationship with the pastor. Why don't you? So this literally happened. So the guy shared some of his ideas. Brilliant. Just great ideas. But knowing this person, they were too abrasive. So sometimes that's just another, I just add that as a fourth way to think about when you feel like you don't have a voice.
Okay, well, fellas, I thank you again for y'all time. Thank you for just hanging out with me, sharing some insight to see us continue to grow for God's kingdom so we can continue to impact the world. I appreciate y'all. You can find us in all social media platforms. My Manhood Matters. Thank you for watching My Manhood Matters. If you like what you're watching, do me a favor, hit like and subscribe, and see you next time.